As she flows down to the plains from the heights above, the meandering paths that cling to the river open to the sacred ghats of Varanasi. The scarlet sun adorns her with hues of gold, lending a heavenly vision to the sprawling ghats and soaring temples, leaving behind a trail of endless ripples, sparkling in her murky waters. The very name of Ganga is a prayer in this ancient city. She is loved by millions as the mother whose mere touch is a pathway to salvation.
जो घाट किनारे लाहत जलाया जाता है, उससे मुक्ति होता है।
उसमें गंदा है ना, गंगा जी थोड़ी ना गंदी है, वो तो पवित्र है।
Varanasi gets its ancient name from the great rivers Varuna and Asi. Today, these rivers that join the Ganga are nothing but open sewers which carry with them the city's offering to the river. More than 250 million liters of domestic sewage and industrial waste every day.
Nature always, whether it is air or water, that takes care of the pollutants, our abuse, by the process of dilution and dispersion. But then there is a limit to which the Ganga water can take the abuse.
This is a story of stark contradictions. Joyous and tragic. Pious and poisonous. Deep and superficial. If this is an epic spiraling into a collection of stark contradictions and dire consequences, then it has yet to introduce its heroes. Navsarjan Dalit Shakti Kendra, an institution to empower the youth from the lower strata of society, is an example of how small efforts can produce enormous results.
If you take a very slow and thoughtful walk in the campus, you will see very, very small steps that we have taken here to save water and also at the same time to educate the young minds. Take for example our dishwashing system. If I wash my dish individually, I will use something like 5 to 7 liters of water to wash one dish. Here what we have is 300 people use only 200 liters of water to wash all the dishes. We are on average saving on the campus around 7,500 liters of water only in terms of washing dishes. The biogas digester is a very quick, healthy and easy way to save water. The fecal matter, the urine and the flush water gets into the biogas chamber. It is processed and on one hand it produces slurry which becomes the manure for the plants. The second produce is the gas which we use in the kitchen to cook our food. We are reusing all the ingredients in an eco-friendly way which sustains the environment and also becomes a profitable activity.
From small initiatives like tapless basins, use of hand pumps, eco-sand toilets and biogas digesters, every little step here is a giant leap towards conservation. As the Ganga traverses across geographical borders, she is joined by the Karnali, Gandaki, Kosi and Bagmati from Nepal. Home to the world's highest mountain ranges and rivers shaped by them, Nepal is an intricate blend of Hinduism and Buddhism. With different hues of culture and religion, it is a bustling confluence of faces, architecture and lifestyles.
Bagmati River is a classic example of a beautiful river that runs through this beautiful city of Kathmandu. It's really turned into a sewage, where all of the sewage coming into it.
The pristine water from the sparkling waterfalls turns into a picture of gloom when it reaches downstream. about 60 mld of sewage and untreated wastewater is discharged into the river's water constantly. The deteriorating quality of the river poses great threat to the health and sanitation of the people for whom the river is a lifeline.
So we need to look at more decentralized options, more appropriate technologies, where community themselves are responsible for the management of the waste and wastewater. In that way only we can clean up the rivers of this valley.
अब यो ट्रिटमेन्ट प्लान्ट बनाउन भन्दा अगाडि यो सुंगा ठाउँमा सारी फोहोर भइराखेछ अनि फोहोर भएर यहाँ दुर्गन्धित भयो मान्छेलाई रोग विभिन्न लाग्यो अनि त्यो पानी त्यसै खोलामा फालिराख्यो.
The Sunga wastewater treatment system is an inspiring example of people coming together for the river. All the wastewater from the village flows through a pipe and is collected in 2 tanks. The wastewater then flows into the horizontal and the vertical beds, where it gets filtered in the beds of sand, gravel, and reed plants. From here on, the water is fit for irrigation and other household chores. This economic system, based on reed plants, is a portrayal of how the evolved vision of simple people can address the grave situation faced by the rivers in the valley.
जब यो ट्रिटमेन्ट प्लान्ट बनिसकेपछि हामी यो वडामा त्यति फोहोर पनि भएन, सफा भयो, मान्छेलाई रोग पनि लागेन अनि त्यसबाट आएको पानी हामी नजिकै तरकारी बालीमा हामी लगाउन सक्यौ र त्यही पानी स्कुलको एउटा टोयलेटमा युज गर्ने भनेर हामीले उ गर्यो अनि त्यही पानीबाट हामी मोटर र विभिन्न सफा गर्ने ठाउँमा लगाउन सक्यौ.
Another example of small efforts making a big difference is Siddipur. A quaint village with over 6,000 people, Siddipur was facing grave water and sanitation problems. The contaminated water from the Godavari river was unsafe for drinking, which led to frequent outbreaks of diseases like diarrhea.
यो नेपाल पहाडी देश भएको कारणले गर्दा यहाँ यो इकोसन टोयलेट एकदम महत्त्व छ किनभने जुन पानीको अभाव भएको ठाउँको लागि यो इकोसन टोयलेट एकदम यो ईश्वरको वरदान भन्नुपर्ने हुन्छ.
An ecosan toilet is an environment-friendly way of conserving water and recycling human waste. Feces and urine are collected in different tanks. The feces is dried for 6 months and used as manure. The urine is diluted with water and becomes an economic and potent fertilizer. Siddipur is a model eco-community. Its initiatives are an example of how small efforts can lead to significant change. Potable water has reached many households. Hundreds of ecosan toilets have been set up, and a large amount of water is being saved. In Siddipur, the love for the river has prevented domestic filth from wafting into her precious waters.
Looking at the water crisis that we are facing now, there are many small things that we can do. We were working on this research project to produce struvite fertilizer, and we use urine as a main ingredient. We collect this urine from ecosan toilets. We put it into this machine called reactor. We add some magnesium, stir for 10 minutes, then we let it settle for 1 day. And after this day we have 2 main products. One is the effluent, the remaining urine, and this powder containing most of the phosphorus, one of the main nutrients contained in urine. We can dry this powder and then use it on the field directly as we would use any normal fertilizer that you can buy at the fertilizer shop. Drip irrigation that we are using in our experiments. It's a very simple technology. It's just some plastic pipes with tiny holes spread on the field, and the water will get actually to the point where it is needed, right to the plant. Compared to a traditional irrigation where you flood the field, especially in this hot climate, a lot of water will just evaporate and it will not reach the plant, it will not do its effect.
While the rest of the city relies on the water supply network, Roshan Shrishta's house conserves water, prevents pollution, and is completely self-sustainable. This eco-home uses various environmental practices. It has adapted the ecosan toilet in an urban setting. The wastewater is recycled and reused for washing and watering the plants, and it sustains itself by harvesting rainwater and storing it in dug wells for dry seasons.